Let's talk a little bit more about some of the conditions that are happening along the Gulf Coast states and Texas in particular. Chris was just showing you the active radar. This is Galveston, where you can see it's been sitting here for a couple of days. It's been here all weekend long, and if you've been paying attention and not tuning out all weekend, you might know that the National Hurricane Center actually identified this little disturbance as an area that has a small potential of becoming a tropical depression or tropical storm with time. Now, as of the last update from the tropics, they said, you know what, 0%. It's just not happening. There's not a lot of time. A lot of that energy is working its way onshore. But either way, whether that happened or not, a lot of the impacts are just the same. And it's all about the tropical moisture feeding in across the region, bringing the heavy rainfall, of course, across the hill country and into western Texas. We have a little bit more of that lift, which squeezes out a little bit more moisture. So we do have flood watches that remain in effect. Abilene down towards San Angelo along the I-10 corridor here. Some of these areas could have a little bit too much of that rainfall. So the risk area for flooding through tomorrow morning includes much of the hill country through the Big Bend area on up into central and even into northern parts of Texas, but it also stretches down towards the coastal areas too. So our future radar is showing you a lot of this moisture kind of streaming in, and once it's in here, it doesn't move a whole heck of a lot. Look at that. I mean, look what the models are doing just south of San Antonio. It is almost nonstop through tomorrow morning. That's very concerning to see the models doing that, but it would be more concerning if they did it run to run to run. So we'll continue to monitor that threat and that situation. There are parts of Texas that actually really could use the rainfall. Here's a look at the deficits across places like El Paso into Midland. Look at this in San Angelo. You guys are about a half a foot down now for the year. Drought conditions still across much of West Texas, not so much in the southeastern parts of the state or any of the real coastal areas, but these are a lot of the areas that are going to continue to get some of that rain. This is just going to be, even though with the drought, it's just too much rain in a short period of time. And so our ground is saturated and you get it day after day, and that begins to add up and increases the flood risk. And of course, when the drought is so bad and an event like this happens on top of that, the ground can be really hard and really dry. It makes it difficult to absorb it, especially initially, right? It's almost like concrete where things just begin to run off. So here's a look at the forecast rainfall through just tomorrow. A few spots could get in that 5 to 8 inch range. Pretty incredible to see that. I think 1 to 3, maybe a few spots with 4 would be a little bit more likely. As for the Houston metro area, you guys might get up to an inch of rainfall. You get down towards Freeport, Bay City, a little bit closer down towards Corpus. That's where the 3 to 5 inches of rainfall is going to be a little bit more coming into play. So just kind of know that this is going to be an area that will stay unsettled. You may get lucky and be one of the drier areas for hours yet this evening, or you might be one of the unlucky ones getting in on the hours of rain over and over. Of course, that risk is highest in those flood areas I just showed you. Kind of a dreary start to September, but cools you down a little anyway. You
know, there is that, especially if you're out in the rain. As long as there's not lightning, that'll cool you down. You'll be soaked, but it'll cool you down. In fact, let's take a look at this.
I want to take you virtually right now to Houston, where, rain is going to stick around into your forecast, and some of that rain is going to be heavy at times, and it's going to add up over the next couple of days. Through Friday, we could be talking about 1 to 3 inches across much of the metro area, and even spots to the south and west could get in on the 3 to 5 inch rainfall range. Here's a look at what things have been doing the last couple of hours. We've had that stream of moisture that's just been coming in off the Gulf of Mexico, that tropical flow of moisture, and that's been bringing the heavy downpours. You know, Houston proper is doing okay right now. You're probably feeling pretty warm and pretty muggy, but a lot of the heavier rain is coming in over towards the Freeport area as opposed to Galveston like we were earlier for today. As for areas like San Angelo, where we've got quite the rainfall deficit, things are popping up towards your north. Midland dealing with all of that flash flooding, so you can see all those green boxes where the warnings are in effect. That's where it means flooding is happening right now, but these boxes here that are green will show you where the watch is, which means conditions are more favorable for that flooding to occur. So through tomorrow morning, it's certainly going to be a good possibility across much of western and central parts of Texas, but even into the coastal areas. As our future radar storm center, every day at this time, we take a moment to look at tomorrow's trouble spots spots tonight, and a lot of us still kind of doing that travel back from Labor Day. Tomorrow's back to work, back to reality, back to school for the first time for some. And there may be some issues on the interstates here across parts of Texas, and there could be some air travel delays too for you business travelers or lingering vacationers perhaps. So places like Abilene down towards San Angelo, into Austin, San Antonio, even into the Houston area, all the way into deep South Texas, there is a chance for getting some localized flash flooding. Now, we've already seen some of that underway today, and that's going to be a possibility again tomorrow. So think of I-10, I-20, I-45, I-35 that all could be affected on the roadways. Ponding of water, frequent lightning, not a lot in terms of severe weather, but enough that you could have delays at DFW as well as into Love Field. And then Florida, that's going to be another place where things will stay unsettled with showers and thunderstorms very similar today. So that means a lot of the airports could have some probably minor delays, likely in the 30-minute range or less, hopefully. A lot of the southeast will stay dry, but the Florida Peninsula, I-75 as well as I-95 and I-4 could have some delays. And as we take a look at the future radar, you can see a lot of the Gulf Coast states are going to have some pop-up showers and thunderstorms that could cause some brief slowdowns anyway. Warren?